Let's go over languages. The vocabulary of JavaScript. The proxies. Oh man, proxies. I don't know. I did a video about proxies, but I just never find a use case for it. So it's not surprising that not many people have used it, but people know about it. A lot of people never heard of it. So probably needs more knowledge spreading about that. Async awaits. I am not surprised at all. We definitely are seeing more and more of that, and it's probably the end of promises. So async await, it's definitely getting nice traction. Promises. Still, promises, like people love promises, and I don't blame them. It's a really nice way to write asynchronous code, and we have 96% users. So it actually increased last year. Not bad. Decorators, I don't use it that much, and I know about it, but I don't really understand it. So in JavaScript, why do we need it? But it seems like at some point in React libraries or something, frameworks, I have seen the use decorators, but in the early days of React, but I don't think people are going to use it that much. Promises all settled. Yeah, like I said before, definitely needs more people to know about it. Dynamic imports. Now that's interesting. We do want to use better front end performance. So if you do dynamic imports, which is pretty good. So it's good to see that people are using it, and hopefully we get more people into that. Let's go into data structures. Maps. I love maps. So maps hold key values and remember the original insertion order of keys. That is a really good feature of JavaScript, and I am happy to see a small increase, but I like to see much more increase in that. Sets. Probably my favorite type of data structure. So sets let you store unique value of any type, whether primitive value or object references. So you don't have to worry about deduping things inside of an array. So using sets, it will automatically make it unique. So it's nice to see the huge increase in sets in 2020. But definitely I want this to go to like in the high 90%. Typed arrays. So what is this? JavaScript typed arrays are array-like objects that provide a mechanism for reading and writing raw binary data in memory buffers. So to me, this sounds like a very system programming kind of thing, use cases. That's why probably I don't do that much of that. So that's why I don't see much of it. And but it's getting increase in usage, so which is nice. Array flat. So this is, like I said, it's the like a Lodash flatten feature, but it's built in into array now. So I love to see much more of that, and hopefully more people can know about it. Big ints, it's a built-in object that provides a way with a whole number larger than that. So this is for big numbers, and in JavaScript, because like JavaScript numbers, vars, whatever, have a maximum number limit. But with this, you can have a much bigger number represented by this type. So again, not many people use it. I imagine it's a very specific use case, but it's a lot of people know about it, which is good. So now let's look at browser APIs. We got service workers, and they are getting pretty big traction, 42%. Service workers are really good for offline apps, and I think if we go more like towards that direction in the future, I expect much bigger uses for service workers. Local storage, that's an old school feature, and I think everybody should know about it, should know how to use it. And we got a slight increase, but I think this should be 100%. Internationalization, API, I think a lot of this is probably uses for like pretty mid to big companies because they got a lot of users from all over the world, so they definitely want to use it. Not bad, but definitely should have more people to know about it. Web audio, I love the web audio API. It actually allows you to build really nice thing. I think Spotify probably use a lot of that stuff. We actually see a decrease in that, which is interesting, and I don't know the story behind that because it's probably also another pretty specific use case for it. So, WebGL, so things like 3JS definitely brings WebGL to the forefront, and we see a slight increase in that. if you ever go to New York Times, you see their visual storytelling. They use a lot of WebGL for that. So right now it's kind of a niche, maybe a VR kind of thing. But hopefully we see more increase. Web animations specifically, like we're very much for interactive developers. So good to see an increase in that. WebRTC, I spoke about it. Things like Discord or Slack Web, they use that for audio and web and video. Speech API, not many people use it, but I play around with it, but I never find usage for it for in production level. But hopefully we will find a use case for it in the future and see more increase in that. So WebVR is kind of new. I think only like Mozilla browsers support that really well. So you can build things for the Oculus Rift or the Vive. Still very very niche right now. So 3% to 3.3. I expect that people have heard of it, but most people never like use it in production. WebSockets, old school feature. We see a slight increase in that, and hopefully with the higher speed internet or better infrastructure to support, WebSockets can be used more to build real-time applications. Fetch, everybody's favorite API, and we see a pretty good increase, but that should at least be 90+%, in my opinion, for fetch. Custom elements, I don't know. This is like a custom components or something for the web, or Shadow DOM. Like they all come similar category. So web components, about equal split right now. Shadow DOM. So I think a lot of new front end libraries are using Shadow DOM to leverage their features. So it's good to see, but still waiting phase. I don't really use it day to day. Alright, let's go to other features. PWA, definitely huge. Chrome has been a big advocate for PWAs, and they will probably vouch for more usage of that. WebAssembly, yeah, it's like I said earlier, it's very very niche right now, and but I think this down the line, this might be what do you call it? It will become pretty big in the future as we get more mature on web. All right, so we're done with features. Let's go to technologies. So this technologies survey tells you about changes in time about certain web technologies. So you have used, have not used, negative opinion, or positive opinion. So let's look at these things that people have used and they have great feedback about it, great opinions about it. Not surprisingly, you got Webpack, Express, TypeScript, Jest, React, and these are the top dogs. And Redux is kind of slowly dying, but it's still in pretty good shape. I see Jest increasing a ton because in my personal company, we changed to Jest after Mocha, and we never look back. Jest is just so much more superior than Mocha. And let's look at people have not used it but have positive opinion. These are people who heard about people talking about it and they have heard good things about it but have not really used it. So GraphQL definitely on the rise, and eventually I think it will probably go up here next year or next few years. Next.js also on the rise. It's one of the best frameworks right now for front-end apps or full-stack apps based on React. You get Electron, Cypress. I love Cypress for end-to-end testing. Apollo clients related to GraphQL. Now Vue.js is definitely getting an increase for sure. React Native, it's kind of a dying, but who knows. So Sveto definitely getting traction right now. Gatsby, these Jamstacks. And let's look at negative opinions but have not used. These are things that people have not used, but they heard like pretty bad things about it. So not surprisingly, a lot of these mobile app generator. So you got Cordova, sometimes Meteor, Ionic framework. I'm quite surprised that Happy is down here, but I really like Happy.js. But you got MobX, Koa, PureScript, ClojureScript, Ember. I think Ember is kind of dying, unfortunately. So here are things that have used, but they don't like it. Not surprisingly, it's Angular. So Angular, I think it's dying. It's just quite a mess. Angular 2, Angular 1. Gope, it's kind of dying because Webpack is taking over. So this is quite accurate of pretty much what I think about all of these things. Satisfaction versus usage. Let's see. You have things that people want to avoid. So it's pretty much similar to the chart above. Analyze, you want to look into it, but adopt is definitely things that people are happy with. And then things you want to assess, these are like satisfactory, in the middle. They kind of wanted to use it, but I don't know if they should use it yet. So interesting. Cardinality, so I don't know more the statistics for these things. I'm not gonna go into it. All right, let's go into JavaScript flavors. Let's look at Elm. So Elm's, kind of dying for some reason, because I think Elm is like a functional programming language. It's kind of slowly going down. TypeScript on the rise, not surprised. A lot of people love TypeScript. They want to get typed into JavaScript, so they are using it all over, and I expect it to stay in this range or even go higher. CloserScript also kind of dying, so let's look into Reason. I have not used it or heard much about it, so it's kind of slowly going down. And you got PureScript, which is, I think, isn't that JavaScript? Just raw JavaScript, so we're going up. Correct me if I'm wrong. So experience over time. Oh yeah, about these things. Yeah, so as you can see about each of these things, their experience over time. Positive, negative split. So TypeScript, it's like killing it. TypeScript's killing it. So for other tools, CoffeeScript. Wow, CoffeeScript's still here, huh? I am quite surprised. But you got Flow, Sveto, Vue.js. I'm surprised Vue.js is down here, but I think it will probably go up. You got React. Interesting. Overall happiness. Let's see, 2016, 3.9. So I blame the drop on COVID. So I think we should be much happier with the way that front end, what the web ecosystem is going. So let's look at front end frameworks. So React, it's like back and forth, but React's still kind of killing it. It's still like doing nicely. Vue.js, it's slowed down a little bit, but I will say this is accurate. In 2018, everybody's getting into Vue.js, thinking it's the next React. But now, like, React has proven itself to stay in power, so that's good. We got Angular. It's really dying. So it's from 68% to 42% in a few years. So I don't blame them. Angular team, I think they really messed up. Ember, same thing. I'm sad about it because a lot of people love Ember. They did some really great things, but unfortunately, it's all about React or Vue right now. So you get this new thing here, Preact, kind of dying because React has been improving their own performance engines. So the need for Preact has been gone down a little bit. Sveto, this is new, very new, and people sort of love the way it handles like all of these data binding and stuff. So not surprisingly, it's getting a lot of interest right now. So Sveto is going up. And you got Alpine. I don't know about that. I don't know about this. I don't even know about what stimulus is, but it seems like people are loving it. So yeah, React's still kind of a king of front-end framework. Other tools, I have not heard about these things. I know what Nux is. It's like Next for Vue. You got Next.js. So Backbone's still there, huh? Interesting. I've spent quite a bit of time in Backbone. And surprisingly, jQuery is out there. I'm surprised Vue is down here. Overall happiness for JavaScript frameworks, we're about the same. But I think we should be happier. Again, I blame COVID. Let's look at data layer. So these are like the data binding libraries for these front-end frameworks. So Redux, interestingly, Redux has been going down from 93% to 67%. Interestingly, people don't seem to use much Redux now to bind their states. GraphQL, definitely on the rise. Everybody's jumping onto GraphQL because it's just a good way to consolidate your API data sources into one API and request only the data you need. So this is getting a really nice traction. Apollo clients, it's the library used for GraphQL, on the rise, same as GraphQL, not surprisingly. MobX, it's kind of like a two-way data binding or something. Like it's really nice way to do things. I looked into it. I like the way they do it, but unfortunately, it's losing traction as well. Relay is the internal thing from Facebook that they open sourced, also dropping. So not surprisingly, Redux, GraphQL are still at the top. And we got these other tools. You got Recoil, React Query, RxJS. I actually like RxJS. I don't know about much of these things. So backend frameworks. So let's look at Meteor. Wow, it's dying. Meteor was originally built for real-time applications, but it's been dying quite a bit. Express.js. Wow, it's dropping a little bit, but it seems to be still the king of backend framework for JavaScript. I like that. Koa, wow, Koa was like introduced as a replacement for Express, but seems to not be successful right now. It's been dropping. Happy, wow, I'm sad to see that Happy has dropped. I personally use Happy at work, so I hope we get more support. If not, I hate to rewrite everything out of Happy, but we'll see. Next.js, happy to see that. Definitely, it makes your job so much easier if you're an engineer. Happy to see that it's going up. Gatsby, personally I like Gatsby, but it seems like Next.js is taking over the way Gatsby works. But I really love the theming feature of Gatsby. But personally I have used it, but I can't help to say, but it's kind of a bloat sometimes. So maybe that's why it's dropping. Fastify, never heard of it. Nuxt.js, like the Vue.js, but for Next.js in Vue. Nest, I've not heard of it. Strappy, I don't know what that is. And look at other frameworks. I have not heard of a lot of these. I know Deno, it's like a replacement for Node.js, but I have not heard of all of these. I know Splitter. I don't know what Donus is, but apparently it's pretty popular right now. Testing libraries. Let's see. Mocha, been dying. Like I said earlier, Jest is just so much more superior to Mocha. So not surprised to see that it's going down. Ava, I have not used it, but it seems to be dying. Jasmine, also kind of a past. As you can see, Jest is on the rise. Everybody's moving to Jest, and it seems to be the best library so far. Storybook, everybody uses Storybooks sometimes, so it's weird that it's dropping down even though it's 91% right now. Cypress, I love Cypress. Great for end-to-end testing, and they have worked out cross-browser compatibility issues, so now you can test it in Firefox as well. Puppeteer, I love it to scrape the web. I like to see it rise. So right now it seems like testing library by Ken Dobbs is gaining traction, and we'll see if that becomes the standard. I'm not opposed to it. I like the library, so I like to see more usage. Playwright, it's like a Puppeteer competition for scraping the web. Not bad. WebDriver, Selenium, yeah, it's kind of dying. Yep, Test Cafe. I know people use Test Cafe at work, so good to see that it's up there. QUnits, Enzyme, of course, Airbnb, Karma. So all of these things are kind of accurate. Let's look at build tools. So build tools, we have Webpack. And it's going down a little bit, and it seems to be not. I don't know. Like Webpack is a lot of learning curve, so I don't know. Let's see. Maybe there's something better. Gope definitely dying. At some point, I use nothing but Gope for my engineering work, and I definitely, like to see it survive. But it seems like we have better options now. Browserify, same thing. At one point, it's one of the best tools. I would say these are innovators. They're predecessors to what we have today, and we gotta thank them. Rollup, it's definitely getting traction, but it seems to be slowing down a little bit. So what do we have now? We have ES build. I have not looked into it, but maybe that's like a out of the box build script. Snowpack, I have heard a lot about it. I have not used it. Maybe it's pretty good. I don't know why TypeScript here. Oh yeah, for build tool, of course. You want to compile your typed JavaScript into JavaScript. So yeah. Parcel, also heard of it. I don't know what these things are, but cool. Let's look at mobile and desktop. These are like React Native, iOS, Cordova kind of thing. React Native, slowing down a little bit. Not surprised. Native apps, sort of the same pattern. Cordova's definitely dying. I heard a lot, not so good things about it, so not surprising that it's dying. Electron, of course, it's it's being used by a lot of commercial apps like Slack or Discord. So they make it so easy for you to port your web app over into mobile app. So Electron is on the rise. VS Code is written in Electron, by the way. So, but it creates a lot of bloat. You're installing a whole Chrome engine into your app, but for the ability to quickly create your app, I think it's worth it. Capacitor, never heard of it. Expo, yeah, I think I've heard of Expo, but yeah, Quasar.